Good morning, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of my flipping series. This is by far one of the most ambitious projects I've ever taken on. Back at the beginning of 2021, I started with 1 GP, and I'm trying to earn enough money just from flipping to afford the most expensive gear for every offer slot. This includes mega rare items like Third Age, which in some cases, in an individual piece can be worth more than max cash. In the end, I'm probably going to have to earn somewhere around 10 bill. Thanks for watching. As always, guys, if you do enjoy the series, always appreciate a like on the video, and specifically for this series, for every 10 likes I get on this video, I'm gonna have to also buy, in addition, an Onyx Dragon Bolt E. Thanks to all the likes, I already have to spend over 30 mil just on the ammunition slot. Kind of crazy. Anyway, let's get started. So in the last episode, we were able to really take advantage of a new announcement. That would be the next item rework. Thanks to items like the Bando's Chestplate, the Bando's Tassets, and even the Armadale Crossbow just shooting up in price, we were able to take advantage of that to make a significant amount of money. And at the end of the episode, we were roughly around 1.1 bill. So just over 1/10 of the way to our final goal, which is kind of motivating actually. Now, because next is still really big news, and most likely the next update we're going to receive, I'm going to be focusing on some of those items again. Now, that said, we're going to shift into a few different ones, and one I'm going to reveal to you now, and the second one I'm going to try not to leak, although it might happen by accident. So as of the recording of this clip, today is November 10th, and the first item I'm going to have a look at here is actually the Armadale Crossbow. We didn't really get to take advantage of it last time because it jumped up so quickly, and we were a couple minutes late, and by then it was too late. Well, I thought it was too late at 30 mil, but maybe it wasn't. So the item peaked at around 35 mil and has since fallen back down to around 30 mil. And you can see here there's actually a big drop off. Now, I'm not sure if we can take advantage of that or not. This big vertical line here kind of intrigues me. Sometimes it's just a tracking error or just a one-off fluke, or sometimes that is just a giant sell-off, which we could take advantage of. Now, I think it's almost inevitable that by the time next comes around, the Armadale Crossbow will go back up again. We're still about 2 months out though, so, there's a lot of in-between time right now. That said, if we could snag some for 28 mil, I think that would be a pretty good price. And I doubt we'd actually lose money on it, so we're going to go try to buy 8 of them. We'll go for 29 mil, just to have a bit more of a likely offer to come through, and we'll see if we can snag something for cheap. Okay, so we're checking in here almost 5 days later. We did end up buying the Armadale Crossbow, but we didn't really get it for the best price. We ended up paying 30.7 mil per crossbow. I still felt like that was still a fairly good price for how much hype there was around the item. Okay, now I am checking in 5 days later, so I can say for sure that this was worth it. If we go have a look at the pricing data right now for the Armadale Crossbow, we can see it's actually jumped up quite a bit. It actually peaked at 39 mil, and yeah, it would have been nice to sell it a couple of days ago, but in the end we're still going to make a fair bit of money, and it looks like it could actually be going back up for another spike again. So although I paid a bit more than I was anticipating, we're still hopefully going to sell them for 37 mil each, which is a 6 mil profit per crossbow. Still pretty damn good. So my new motto for the series is patience. We're going to just wait until these sell off. Nowadays with the real-time data, prices go up and down very erratically, but if you're patient and an understanding of why you bought or sold the item, I think in the end it'll often work out. Now, just a couple days later, and we have sold off all our Armadale Crossbows. Not quite as good a price as we're hoping, but not much less either. I ended up selling all of them for 36.3 mil. And if you recall, we bought them for around 30.7 mil. So in the end, we made around 5.5 mil in profit per crossbow, which is nothing to scoff at. Altogether on this merch or swing trade, you might want to call it, we ended up netting ourselves 44 mil. Not too bad for a couple days work. Time will tell whether we sold that too early, but for now, I'm happy with 44 mil profit. Also, one thing I haven't really touched on much is I've had this offer in for Cosmic Runes for a long time, and it finally completed. We ended up with nearly 300k Cosmic Runes at 134 each. I'm not really sure how long I'm going to hold these, but Cosmic Runes fluctuate a lot. Like a couple months ago, they're worth 180 each. Now they're worth 134. I mean, sure, it's not as flashy as some of these other items, but the potential is still there to have a very profitable merch. Now, I find myself kind of indecisive on what items I want to invest in for next. I have one for sure, and that's the one I'm attempting not to reveal. I'm pretty confident on that item, but For the rest, I mean, I'm not really sure. I didn't actually play RuneScape around the time of Nex, and I don't really know much about it. All I'm really basing my assumptions on are just how the boss fight used to work, and attempting to read up on that. Now, there seems to be a bit of a debate on if Nex is really going to be weak to crossbows. Yes, Jagex has mentioned that they will be, but on paper it's not as clear. Some people think actually the Bow of Ferdinand might actually be better than the Armadale Crossbow unless there's some mechanic that they add, but just based on Nex's historic stat line, maybe the Bofa might actually be better. It does seem like some people think that, at least because the price has shot up quite a bit. Now, another item that used to be good at Nex is the Dragon Claws, a spec weapon, and I also do think this could be a good option as well. So as you can see, I did pick up both of those items to buy and hold at least for a couple of days. We ended up getting 5 pairs of Dragon Claws and 1 Bow of Ferdinand. Didn't quite have enough to buy more of those, unfortunately. Now, on top of that, I did also invest in one other item, and that was the Sang Staff. Not particularly because of Nex, I just kind of looked on GE Tracker and noticed that the price very consistently was erratic, if that makes sense. And over the last month, it has gone up and down like 8 or 10 mil multiple times. So I think if that trend continues, we may be able to snag ourselves a nice profit. So that's pretty much what I have going on right now. Today is November 19th, and we're going to put in some optimistic sell offers and maybe just see what happens. And I'll probably check back in a few days. Okay, so I'm checking in actually a full 5 days later, and all that's changed so far is we ended up unloading our Sang Staves. We ended up selling most of them for 48 mil, and we bought them for around 44.5 mil, so not a bad profit at 14 mil on those Sang Staves. We did end up actually dumping one earlier because I needed a bit of money, but in the end, 14 mil isn't bad for an item that I, well, kind of picked randomly. Okay, so once again, we're checking back in with the Armadale Crossbow. We can see once again there is a giant dip. Now, it did turn out I missed out on a fair bit of profit as the Armadale Crossbow went up to as high as 50 mil each, which would have been pretty nice. Yeah, I know. That said, in the last couple of hours, the price has crashed a lot. It's already gone down 4 mil in just a couple hours, so I might try to pick one up in hopes that it will bounce back. Okay, that's a bit odd. Well, we put in an offer, but it completed at that exact price. Either I guessed it perfectly, or some shenanigans happened where my standing offer just somehow got in there first, and the other person got a good deal. Either way, though, I think this will be fine. We'll hold them for a couple days, and then we'll see what happens. Okay, so I ended up waiting one more day, but we did end up selling off 2 items that we've been holding for almost a week, I guess. First up here, we have the Bow of Ferdinand, which actually netted us a lot of money. It's too bad I only got one of those. We ended up buying the Bofa for 180 mil, and we sold it for 195, so 15 mil in profit on a single item. That's really good. Again, it's possible it might still go up further, but, you know, it's hard to say for sure, and 15 mil profit sounds pretty good to me. On top of that, we also invested in some Dragon Claws. We ended up selling those for 66 mil. And once again, we bought them for just over 62 mil, which means we made a little bit more money on claws. We got 18 mil in profit on 5 Dragon Claws, not bad. Now in the end, I am really happy with all of these merches, but you have to keep in mind when the market is just going up in general, it's kind of hard to lose money merching. But obviously when times are good, well, merches work out a lot more often. Oh, okay, I'm actually pretty excited about this. The Bow of Ferdinand, we ended up getting about a 10 mil profit in a day. One thing I've been kind of experimenting with is swing trading or maybe overnight flipping, something like that. The exact terminology isn't that important, but essentially I noticed that the Bow of Ferdinand fluctuates very frequently right now, 8 or 10 mil up and down on the daily right now, which is kind of insane. So it's not too complicated here, but all I'm really doing is putting a buy offer in for around 190 mil and a sell offer in for like 200 mil, and we're just waiting. On volatile items, usually it does come through eventually. So we're going to take our nearly 10 mil profit on the Bow of Ferdinand, and yeah, I mean, we should try that again. Simply, we're going to put another offer in for 190 mil. Hopefully that will come through in a day or less, and then we're just going to sell it for 10 mil profit. Well, my swing trading strategy did actually work out pretty well for the bow of Ferdinand. I doubled down, or tripled down, I guess you would say, and went for 3 of them. And although we didn't retain the same margin as we did before, still a very solid one. We upped our offer a bit to around 193 mil, and because of that, we were able to buy 3 BOFAs pretty quickly. So we bought 3 of them overnight, and the next day, they're sold off. I mean, just overnight, essentially, we made nearly 22 mil, which is incredibly exciting. I mean, I'm gonna try to repeat this again. And we also have kind of a smaller flip, I guess you would call it, on the Viggora's chain mace. I was planning on buying more, but I decided to go for the bow of Ferdinand instead, which I don't regret. But on the Viggoras, we made about 4 mil as well. And I know that is mainly due to the market situation right now, but it's hard not to get a little cocky. So I think we're going to go back and buy another 3 bow of Ferdinands and see if we can repeat this. Alright, so we're going to do this song and dance again. The Armadale Crossbow I have bought and sold quite a few times, a couple times very successfully, another time not so much, didn't really lose much money on it, but now once again, you can see here the price has plummeted. It was around 42 mil earlier this day, and all of a sudden it just fell off a cliff. Often when this happens, it only lasts like an hour or two, and if you can buy right at the bottom, it very consistently bounces back at least a bit. So I'm gonna try to see if I can snag one for 37 mil or whatever it's at right now, and well, we'll see if we can get lucky once again. So we're checking in here quite a few days later. It's actually December 3rd now, and really nothing has changed. I decided I just wanted to hold these items for a while. The bow of Ferdinand has dropped a bit since I bought it. Overall, we haven't really lost much money on it yet, and with us now into December, I think I might just end up holding these items over the holidays. I might be a bit busier during this month anyway, so I might not have too much time to actively monitor things. So in the end, how much money did I make today? Well, you can see we have just over a bill just in our offer slots on top of 32 mil in our inventory. And you might be asking where the rest of that money is. Well, the rest of it's in an item in my bank. And how much money do I have invested into that item? Well, exactly 289 mil. So based on those numbers, we'd be at 1,322 mil. Now, that might be a bit optimistic because I haven't sold these items off yet, so let's just say an even 1.3 bill. A nice even number, which means that we have profited around 200 mil just in today's episode, which again is amazing. So at the end of the last episode, I promised that in today's episode, I would actually go ahead and buy my first item of the series. Now, I actually wanted to go for one that was more expensive, but I kind of just realized I don't have the requirements to wear most of these items, which means eventually I will need to get them. So I'll need to get some strength, ranged, mage, and melee levels just to wear everything, but for now, what we're going to end up buying is the Amulet of Eternal Glory. The first item of the series for about 40 mil. Feels good to finally get something on the account. Sure, we could afford an Elysian technically, but well, that would use up all our money, and I don't think that's a very good idea right now. Anyway guys, thanks for watching, and I will see you next time. Now, before I go here, I want to give a giant thank you to all of my members over on YouTube. Thank you so much to Sejuani's Flail, The Hybrid, Ocelot, and Kush Patel for all being subscribed at the Dragon tier. Means a lot, guys. As always, thank you for your continued support. Also, a giant thank you to Sir Rojas, Ryan Shady, Mexos, Base Titch, NDM001, and Yo-Yo Sub 89 for all being subscribed at the Runite tier. Thank you so much, guys. Appreciate it as always. If you guys are looking for another way to support me directly, becoming a YouTube member is the best way to do so. You can become immortalized in all of my future videos, get access to a custom role in my Discord server, and get access to my video release schedule. Anyway, thanks for watching, guys, and I'll see you next time.